This is my first time playing the Sergeant at Arms, and I'm standing in for our very own dynamic Toastmaster Siona. But it is also giving me an opportunity to present to you our club mission. That is, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self confidence and personal growth. You must be wondering why is it that I skipped a brief intro about Toastmasters. That's because I can see that everybody in this room is a Toastmaster. And if there are guests, if any chance, since I'm spotlighted and I cannot see, I'm sure there'll be a Toastmaster soon as well. That is me standing in for the Sergeant at Arms today. As the meeting progresses, each one will come up and introduce their respective roles. Two rules during the meeting. Please keep your respective phones on silent to ensure that our speaker does not get disturbed. And if you need to move from the screen, please switch off your videos so that the speaker does not get distracted as well. Apart from that, the normal instructions that we would give in a physical meeting would be the washrooms and the other distractions. But I'm sure if you're in your comfort space at your homes, you know where that is and you know what to avoid. So handing over the meeting to our president, our very own Toastmaster Abrar, over to you.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms, Meenal, for taking over. A very good evening to all the future distinguished Toastmasters who are present here. And if we have any guests, good evening to you as well. Since everyone knows what Toastmasters is about, I would just like to say this because this meeting is being recorded and maybe someone somewhere on YouTube might watch this. So Toastmasters International is a non-profit organization, and since 1924, it has been connected with a network of clubs. In Goa itself, we have around 10 clubs, out of which there are 2 corporate clubs and 8 community clubs. Vasco Toastmasters is almost around a year and a half old. We tried online and then we tried offline, I would say, hybrid meetings, and now we're back to online. It is good to see everyone. Not taking much of your time, I would like to mention about the next Toastmasters who is going to take ahead from here. That is Toastmaster Aarti Iyer. Before I hand it over to her, I would like to welcome you all to the 39th meeting of Vasco Toastmasters Club. She has chosen a wonderful theme that was once upon a time close to my heart. And now I don't know about my heart because now I'm more focused about my brain and other things to do in life. So let's hear from Toastmaster Aarti, our Toastmaster of the day. Over to you, Aarti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abrar. A very good evening to everyone. Long ago, at some point during evolution between plankton and Bon Jovi, apes evolved the ability to become emotionally attached to one another. This emotional attachment would eventually come to be known as love. It's amazing to notice how love has evolved over years. I'm sure you all remember the good old days when two flowers stroking each other meant something, or in recent times when the wind blows and the hair flies elegantly. You get the hint. Anyway, before I continue, I would like to explain how today's meeting is going to evolve. Toastmasters meeting is generally divided into 3 sections. The first section is the prepared speech section, where our speakers will present their prepared speeches based on their pathways, projects, and level. The second session is the table topic session, where our table topic master will give us topics to be spoken on, absolutely impromptu. And the last is the evaluation or the feedback session, where our general evaluator will evaluate the role players and the entire meeting and share feedback and valuable suggestions to enhance our meetings further. Moving further, do you know that love has various stages? The first stage is moving from infatuation to vulnerability. The very beginning of any relationship is very smooth sailing. You've invested in your new partner, seeing in you in the best possible light. You also see in them the best of them through rosy colored glasses. All we want is to spend as much time as possible with that one special person. In fact, we lose track of time. Today, much to the contrary, to ensure that we don't hit off the clock, Toastmaster Shivani will keep a track of time taken by all our speakers and role players to ensure that the meeting today is smooth sailing. I call upon Toastmaster Shivani to introduce her role for the day.
Thank you so much, TMOD Aarti. I am Toastmaster Shivani, your timer for today's meeting. As a timer, it is my duty to keep a track of time. And Abrar, can you make me the host so that I can share the screen?
Shivani, I'll share the rights. Could you try?
Yes. Okay. For prepared speech section, I will show the green heart upon 5 minutes, yellow heart upon 6 minutes, and red heart upon 7 minutes. For table topics, I will show green heart after 1 minute, yellow heart after 1 minute 30 seconds, and red heart after 2 minutes. I will give my report when called upon by the general evaluator. Over to you, TMOD Toastmaster Aarti.
Thank you for the crisp introduction of your role, Toastmaster Shivani. Moving on to the second stage of love, where we evolve from vulnerability to stability. Vulnerability often leads to disagreements, miscommunications, and real discussion about our future. But after the dust settles, there's often a period of stability. Similarly, improper communication increases one's vulnerability. To put this in place, we have amongst us Toastmaster Abrar, who is the R counter for today's meeting. Toastmaster Abrar, I request you to please introduce your role to all of us.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Aarti. My role as an R counter is to count the number of R's and ums. These are the unnecessary words that we use, like how I was supposed to use now, but I just thought I am playing the role of the R counter and I shouldn't be doing that. So it's like, and all of these words. These crutch words, they actually spoil the entire essence of an effective speech. So I will be making a note of all the R's, ums, and all the other crutch words, and will be presenting to everybody when called upon by the general evaluator. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abrar. Stage 3, when we finally move from stability to commitment. This is the period wherein the couples begin to understand that sustaining a relationship takes work and willingness to accept change and evolve in the same direction. Good grammar too brings stability and confidence while communicating. To keep a track of our grammar today, we have with us Toastmaster Meenal. I call upon Toastmaster Meenal to kindly introduce her role to us.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Aarti. As a grammarian, my role would be to keep a track of the good language usage and the not so good language use. Now, what happens is when we communicate, we often think head first and speak later. But sometimes our words get entangled and we mean to say something, but we end up something. Now, as a good communicator, what often helps is practice and practice with one word at a time. That brings me to the part of introducing the word for the day. Staying in line with the theme, I thought, what better word than romance? Now, romance is a noun which means the mystery or excitement surrounding love. Very often we end up using romance in multiple ways. It becomes romancing, it becomes romantic, it becomes romanced. But in order to become a good communicator, let us today try and use the word as is very aptly in a sentence. For example, I have a thirst for romance, or gone are the days when people worship old school romance. So that brings me to the end of my role, and I will present my report at the end when called upon by the general evaluator. I will also be dropping the word of the day in the chat box and reminding you from time to time because it's not too difficult a word to remember. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Aarti.
Thank you, Toastmaster, for the crisp, nice, and wonderful illustration of your role today. Nothing, absolutely nothing can be achieved without efforts, be it achieving targets, getting rich, or sustaining a healthy relationship. Trust me, love is really not enough. Small gestures to make your significant other feel special is necessary. In fact, that is the secret to keep a relationship going in the right direction. Similarly, no amazing speech is possible without efforts. And here we have with us two wonderful speakers, all set to present in front of us today. Moving on, we move to the prepared speech section, where I call upon our first speaker, Toastmaster Saurav, and his evaluator, Toastmaster Akshay, to kindly come ahead and present the objectives of Toastmaster Saurav's speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Akshay.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Any breaking? There's any
Not at
lag
all.
from me on my side?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters and my target speaker, Saurav. Toastmaster Saurav is doing his speech from his Pathway Persuasive Influence Level 2 Project 1. His objective is to identify his leadership style and deliver his speech, and his time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. All the very best, Toastmaster Saurav. Over to you, Toastmaster Aarti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshay. Toastmaster Saurav, culture of listening. Culture of listening, Toastmaster Saurav.
Yes. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. How often do we change in certain situations? I mean, just think about it. When you were a different person in a particular situation and you had to question your core values. And for me, the answer was definitely we do. And that has a lot to do with kind of leadership. So I'm on my journey to find my type of leadership through Toastmasters. So Toastmasters particularly talks about 8 kinds of leadership. That is bureaucratic, authoritative, pace setting, democratic, innovative, coaching, affiliative, and illustrative. So thing about this leadership is that each leadership works in a different way according to the situation. Each leadership style has a different skills attached to the leader and the people in the team. So what's interesting is these 8 types of leadership are like 8 kinds of hat. We use it in a certain kinds of situations where it is effective. If you use the same hat in a different situation, it's ineffective. Going ahead, I took the quiz on the Toastmasters to understand what is the style of my leadership. I had to answer some questions, and in the end, I had 4 major core attributes that were displayed to me. And surprisingly, uh, I was a more democratic kind of leadership. Now, I question that because a lot of this comes from how self-aware I am. Because technically, if I say I know how algorithm works, you answer certain kinds of question, you get certain kind of answers. If I change those answers, and those answers differ, so I really wanted to trace back to what kind of leadership that I like. So the best way was, and even I want everybody here to think about it. Personally, I think the best kind of leadership is where you felt the best. Personally, when you were being led by some other person and you were a team member, try to remember when was the time that you felt at your peak performance. You felt the best working under somebody. It can be either in school, in college, or at your office, where you're working under somebody and you felt the best. And that's what I did. Maybe it was in school when I got a command standard ease, or maybe it was in a games period when my coach taught me how to shoot a ball in the goal post accurately, or maybe when I was handed a chalk and said, Saurav, draw whatever you want. Now, each of these situations, we have been through all kinds of leadership. And that's how I assess. And that's where I realized, oh, okay, I felt the best when I was heard. I felt the best under style of leadership where my thoughts were heard and implemented. So that's where I realized, all right. So I came back full circle and realized that completely makes sense why I'm a democratic type of leadership. And that is a skill that I need to work over it. But coming to my topic of the speech, the culture of listening. So that's what I believe. If you try to understand the core of it is lies and skill of listening. The common thing here in all the leaders is listening and how well they listen to their teammates. For example, listening will allow you to analyze what is the situation before you even believe what kind of leader you are or how you're going to direct them. Because it's very important to understand what kind of teammates you have and what kind of goals you have. And so that listening becomes a key skill when it comes to leadership. Again, if I dig deeper, what I have realized is listening and being heard also has to do with the level of skills that a particular team member has. For example, everybody in the team member has to be equally knowledgeable about the goal that they want to achieve. Being democratic at that particular time makes sense. And that is why I believe democratic style of leadership is something that suits me. Going ahead, I went to other styles of leadership. And what was the reason that I couldn't connect to those kind of leadership and understand it? Very important is the kind of leadership styles that we possess today is because the situations that we have ever been, the kind of roles and kind of things that we have ever done. For example, if you have to lead something, you have to play sports, you must have possessed some certain kinds of leadership styles. But if you had to work in a collaborative environment, you were in an art room or you were working where there are a lot of elements to it and teamwork is a major necessity, you acquire certain kinds of leadership skills. And thus, that's what I realized about leadership is I do not understand what kind of leader I am, but I realize is going ahead, listening is the skill that I should possess, and listening is something very important. And listening in the sense not just being listening, but to understand it, reading between the lines. A lot of leaders say that we are good listeners, and just listening is not important. Understand it and reciprocate what the others are saying. So I would conclude with the title of my speech. Let's encourage the culture of listening and understanding, and have a better understanding of leadership styles. Thank you.
That was a wonderful speech. All the very best to you. Moving on. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Akansha, and her evaluator is Toastmaster Tanya. I call upon Toastmaster Tanya to introduce to us the objectives of Toastmaster Akansha's speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aarti, and a very good evening to all of you, and also my speaker, Toastmaster Akansha. I'm really looking forward to this evaluation, I must say that. So my speaker, Akansha, is doing her level 2 project 1, which is understanding her leadership style from a pathway innovation planning. The title of her speech is A Terrible Leader. Over to you, Toastmaster Aarti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tanya. Toastmaster Akansha, a terrible leader. A terrible leader, Toastmaster Akansha.
How many of y'all ever had horrible bosses? Please raise your hand. Or let's just talk at a Toastmasters level. How many of y'all consider yourself as a good mentor? Now, I know mentees are in a much better position to answer this. However, they are obligated to say yes. And since I am a mentee, I am most likely to support them. So mentors, you have got a golden opportunity to praise yourself. So please go ahead. Now, regardless of what you may consider yourself as a leader, today, I, Toastmaster Akansha, am here to discuss about my experiences with leadership. In my speech, a terrible leader. Yes, you heard me right, a terrible leader that I used to be back then. And this goes way back when I was in school leading group projects. Now, I have always been pretty good in academics, and was the only reason why my teachers often used to make me the group leader. But over time, I realized that how smart you are has got nothing to do with how smart you are with people. Because during school, I often used to turn the group project into my own individual project and would end up doing the entire team's work all by myself and would just share my grade with them and be fine with it. And somehow, for the longest time, I assumed that I am actually a great leader. So how did I transition into believing that I am actually a terrible leader? Well, this happened during college, while I was preparing for my job interviews. As a commerce graduate, leadership skills and team collaboration are considered to be one of the most important soft skills in a candidate. And during my interviews, I was often asked to share an experience where I demonstrated these skills. Although I used to easily get away with this question during my interviews, on a personal level, I started to question my own ability as a leader. Now, again, as a commerce graduate, I have been well versed with the different styles of leadership there are. And I've always admired the idea of participative leadership. So here's what I realized and implemented to follow this particular style of leadership. Firstly, there is no I in a team. It is all about collaboration and delegation. As a leader, I am supposed to make my teammates feel valued and understand their skill set and the skills they are interested in developing and delegate them the tasks accordingly. Secondly, communicate effectively and be a good listener. From giving them instructions to addressing their concerns to even asking for their inputs or even a brainstorming session to bring out their creativity and give them a sense of purpose. Communication plays a huge role. And finally, lead by an example. As an accountant, one of the first few things that I learned in the subject was the principle of prudence, which states account for all the anticipated losses, but profits should only be credited once realized. And similarly, a good leader is someone who holds himself accountable for all the mistakes of the team and credits them for a job well done. Now, I learned these lessons during my college. And today, as a working professional, I understand its importance. As I often hear my seniors say, when you lose an employee for a better pay, there is still a probability he might come back. But when you lose an employee for a good team or culture, he's never going to come back. And that is the impact of a good leader. Thank you.
Wow, that was a fabulous speech, Toastmaster Akanksha. And truly, both the speeches were indeed captivating. And with this, we come to the end of the first segment of our meeting. It's intriguing how we get so invested in loving everyone else, but ourselves many a times. We get so busy settling things for others that we forget to accept our own emotions for what they are and placing our physical, emotional, and mental well-being first. We spend so much time with everyone else and we forget to spend time with ourselves. How about we sit down and take a dip into our minds and souls? Hence, to literally get us speaking our mind with no filters, we shall move to the second segment of today's meeting. That is the table topic section. Here, our table topic master, Toastmaster Tanvi, will give us interesting topics to speak on and encourage us to participate in the session. Please welcome our table topic master, Toastmaster Tanvi, with a huge round of applause. Over to you, Toastmaster Tanvi.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the meeting. Today's theme is love. I had almost forgotten that it was the month of love until I saw the poster for today's meeting. And it was a nice reminder. It got me into the mood of the whole Valentine season. So today I have a few questions for you that you will have to answer, and you will have to answer it for at least 1 to 2 minutes. The timer will show you the green card at 1 minute, yellow card at 1.5 minutes, and the red card at 2 minutes. So do stick to the time. and do stick to the topic as well. So my first speaker today will be Toastmaster Aditya. Hi,
Hello.
Toastmaster Aditya. Yes. Do you believe in love at first sight? If yes, why so? If not, why not?
Yes, I do believe in love at first sight because I have experienced it firsthand. And I never knew that I would fall for love at first sight as such. But that happened to me incidentally when I was in my first organization. When I saw my love interest for the first time. And incidentally, I never thought that I would really fall for her because it was just a simple eye contact which I had with her, but I immediately knew that she would be the one. And I used to look for avenues how I could contact her, talk to her, and get to know her more. And then we had this particular event where we had gone to AdLabs iMagica in Lonavala. And there somehow I sneaked her contact and I contacted her. Then we started talking under the pretext of how your team is performing and so on. And I didn't know how to date girls as such. Then I also found one more avenue how to particularly invite her for a date under the pretext of something else. Things were going pretty good, but then it was always from my end. It was not from her end. But yes, I got to experience what love is basically, and especially love at first sight. So it was a beautiful moment. I do cherish all those memories which I had, even though however they may have turned out. Nevertheless, romance never really grew between us, but love was definitely there. Back to your topics, Master.
Thank you, Aditya. That was a beautiful story, beautifully told. Thank you. So my next table topic speaker will be Abrar. Yes, so Abrar. Now, if you know, currently the trend is such that people have, they come up with this innovative and creative ways to propose to their girlfriend, boyfriends, right? And they record it and then they put it on FB and all of the social media accounts. So how would you like to be proposed by your girlfriend? Not how you would propose to your girlfriend, but how would you like to be proposed to by your girlfriend?
Thank you, Table Topic Master Tanvi. Good evening. And I shouldn't have joined this meeting. This is the first realization I had when Toastmaster Tanvi said that it's Love Aajkal and this is month of February. I've been working hard and I have not even been thinking about that. This is the reason why she's chosen, or February month is the reason why she's chosen this topic. Coming back to the topic, she said that, how would I want someone to propose me? My heart sank. Let me think about all those heartbreaks that I had. Give me 3 minutes. Oh, I just have got 2 minutes to speak. I can't take those 3 minutes. Well, I could only speak about how I have proposed, but that would be a long story. Let's cut short to that. 3 things. I would expect someone to just approach and tell me, hey, I like you. Can we just go out? And that's it. I am not a kind of a person who likes to put in strenuous efforts in, I would say, coming out and expressing, presenting gifts. I am bad at gifting. So I'm okay if someone doesn't give. A simple text would be fine. Okay, let's go out, spend some good time. And if things work out, awesome. Back to Table Topic Master Tanvi.
Thank you, Abrar. So basically, you'll want a really lazy proposer.
Oh, wow. You got it. Just like me.
Thank you. Oh, next we have Toastmaster Gajanan Desai. Do we have any guests? We do not have any guests, right? Okay, so let's go with Toastmaster Gajanan.
Yeah.
Okay. Toastmaster Gajanan, what is your idea of a romantic date?
Yeah, what is the topic?
What is your idea of a romantic date?
Yeah, this is a very out of syllabus question for me.
Yes.
When you asked me this question, I remember my theory of machine class. Actually, we had an exam and I was very bad at it. Okay, I went for the exam and I did all the preparation, what will be coming for the exam and how much marks I will be scoring. And I sat for the paper and then I realized that I don't know anything out of it. I saw my paper and started laughing. And I expected that I will score around 4 marks. And when my results came, I was surprised, pretty much surprised, because I scored 6 marks. And I was very happy because I got more than what I wanted. And this, the question you threw at me brought me the reminiscence of my college days. Over to you, Toastmaster Tanvi.
Okay. Okay. I have no words. You handled it brilliantly, I would say. Okay. Who else do we have? Akshay. Would you like a table topic, Akshay?
Yes, I think we have just very few members, so that's why no option actually. Although I'm the evaluator and I have to speak later, but yes, I'll try, no problem.
Okay.
It will be practice for me for the contest.
Yes. So, which is your favorite romantic movie or a novel? And why?
Movie or novel? One second. One second now. Which is the favorite romantic movie, right?
Yeah, movie or
Yeah.
novel or a play.
No, yes.
Or even a romantic
heard.
song will do.
Yes, no problem. Yes. We have many romantic in theme, especially romantic movies, romantic songs, romantic plays, as of course, romantic poets like William Wordsworth, who is a romantic in nature, and he is one of my personal favorite, I would say, because his birthday and my birthday is the same day. And to tell you fact, first I'll talk about romantic song. Hindi song that is Tum Hi Ho. Many of you might have heard this song. It's from the movie Ashiki 2. And I thoroughly enjoyed this song. And whenever I used to perform this song, I used to get a standing ovation. And I got third place in inter-class singing competition when I was in 11th standard. And of course, romantic poetry, I would say, that is Few Miles About Tintin Abbey. It portrays the relationship between William Wordsworth and his sister Dorothy Wordsworth. And as a place is Wye Valley. And here, these two things I loved most. And these are my thought-provoking things of romantic. So Toastmaster Tanvi, what are your opinion on this? Are you agree with me? Please let me know. Over to you.
Thank you, Akshay, for the lovely table topic. Just a second. Okay, my next speaker, I would like to invite Toastmaster Tanya. Tanya,
Yeah,
are you
Toastmaster
there?
Tanvi.
Yes. Okay. Love with a heartbreak or a love without a heartbreak?
I think I would say love without a heartbreak. I think that would be the best thing. Because I've seen my friends having heartbreak and I was like I'm almost a listener and they're just telling me and I can feel it. Yeah, so I would go with the fact that love without a heartbreak. I mean, I believe it's better, right? Communication, romance, trust, travel, all of that. So love without a heartbreak is the best thing. I mean, you'll be in peace. Over to you, table topic master.
Yes, if only life was that simple. Thank you, Toastmaster Tanya. Who is there anyone else who would like to take up a table topic?
I would actually want to take up a table topic.
Yes, Akansha. Why not? Why not? Okay. No, I already asked it. Okay, what gift are you buying your Valentine this year and why?
So the first gift I need to buy for my Valentine is get a Valentine. That is the gift I need. The only gift I can buy for someone on Valentine's Day is for myself, because I'm just going to treat myself after all the romantic shoots and the posts that I'm going to see on my Instagram and crib about it the whole time that, I don't have a Valentine, because that's the only day I think we singles are so dreaded of, and probably even remind me about all the heartbreaks. So of course, one tub of ice cream I would need. That is the gift I would need for myself. And I am a fan of makeup and skincare. So yeah, Nykaa is actually running a Valentine's Day sale. And I think, forget the Valentines and all the couples, I'm just going to buy a good amount of makeup for myself on that sale. So that is one thing I love about Valentine's Day. And that is the only gift I can actually even ask for. Or maybe God can hear my prayers, and probably by next Valentine's, I do have someone who will gift me something rather than me burning a hole in my pocket. So yeah, that is the gift that is the only thing that I can think of if you ask me about the gifts on Valentine's Day.
I think that was nicely handled. And I hope the gentleman in the room heard that. Okay, who else is in the room? Anyone else who would like to take? Okay, Meenal, yes. Meenal, if you could choose your Valentine, let's just assume you're single for the next 5 minutes. If you could choose your Valentine, who would it be and why?
If beggars were choosers, then horses would ride. It's the ultimate quote from the Baron of Romance, that's Shakespeare. But since you have given me this opportunity that I could be single, I would always end up picking a mirror. One thing that's a little eccentric, because Akansha just said that that's one day that all singles crib about, but that's one day where you can introspect and just tell yourself how much you love yourself, because the rest of the days you will not believe it. We live in a make-believe world. So if you use reverse psychology and sit in front of a mirror on Valentine's Day and introspect saying, would you be my Valentine? I think that's a good time to start asking yourself, how much do you really love yourself? And in a way, it would also kind of fuel the romance that you want in your life. That was a philosophical answer, which is absolutely untrue. If I wanted and I could find a Valentine and have whoever I wanted, I would say there's a list of them, but I will obviously pick someone I cannot have, and that would be George Clooney. The man is a walking, I don't know how to express it, and it will be inappropriate to express it here in this crowd. But yes, the man has grace, he has the aura, he has the persona, and he has the voice. The voice that can make any girl go weak in her knees. And that would be my ideal idea of romance. So thank you, Tanvi, for giving me that brief moment of joy. And over to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Meenal. That was deep. Yes, this is fun. Do we have any other speaker who would like to take up a table topic? Shivani.
I thought I was excused because I'm the timer.
Who said? Who said so? Who said so? Okay. True or false? You fall in love just once.
False. Big time false. You fall in love so many times. So you fall in love so many times that the concept is love is flawed itself. So you try to repair the concept of love each time you fall in love. May it be with your high school crush, may it be with your college boyfriend, may it be with your neighbor or anybody. You fall in love so many times. So it's definitely false. I think love is more like a friendship. So if you can make more than one friends, you can also have more than one person to love. So yes, you fall in love many times. Thank you for the topic, Tanvi.
Yes, thank you, Shivani. And yes, I do agree with you. Okay, then I guess that's it. I think we have covered all the speakers in the room, right? Okay, then I enjoyed the table topic sessions. I hope that you all enjoyed it just the way I did. So thank you for the opportunity, and over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tanvi. I'm sure we all thoroughly enjoyed the session filled with romance and love. And it was also wonderful to see all of you speak your heart out. Like I mentioned earlier, absolutely no filters involved. So cheers to all of you on that. Let us now take a minute to please vote for the best speaker and for the prepared speeches, and also the best speaker for the table topic session. May I please request the voting to be presented on the screen? Yes. We will also have the voting for the table topics right away, right? Oh,
Yes, we will be having the voting. However, the timer will have to mention if all the speakers have qualified.
Yeah, so except Toastmaster Tanya and Toastmaster Shivani, all others have qualified. That is Toastmaster Aditya, Toastmaster Abrar, Toastmaster Gajanan, Toastmaster Akshay, Toastmaster Akanksha, and Toastmaster Meenal.
Okay, okay.
yeah, the voting will be held in a couple of seconds. Yes, please vote wisely. We have the elections coming up on the 14th. This is just a practice session for all of you. So vote responsibly. Are we done? All right. So love is like a tonic for the heart. The essence of love will never fade no matter how long or how many generations go down, though the way of expressing may change. While we get so busy participating in the rat race, chip a little time off to retain the magic in your relationship with little acts of kindness. And most importantly, don't forget to drizzle a little extra love on yourself. This Valentine's Day, fall in love with yourself first, and then get all set to nurture those special relationships in your life. On this note, I now hand over the session to our Toastmaster Gajanan, the general evaluator for today's meeting, as we proceed to our final session of today's meeting. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Gajanan.
Toastmaster Gajanan, you're
You're
muted.
on mute. Toastmaster Gajanan, please unmute.
Yeah. Imagine today is 14th of February. It's a very special day, not only because it's an election day, it's a Valentine's Day. You are going for your first blind date. You wear a tuxedo suit, you groom your hair, you go to the mirror and see yourself. Though you are perfect, still you find that something needs to be changed, something you have to be little bit different. And it's an introspecting, this is the time you introspect yourself. And in Toastmasters meeting, we have this session, it's called general evaluation session, where we evaluate ourselves, how good we were, and what are the things we can improve in future to be better. This session is divided into 3 parts. First part is the speech evaluation session. Second part is the role players report. And thirdly, I will give my general comment on the overall conduct of the meeting. So let us quickly begin with the speech evaluation session. My first evaluator is Toastmaster Akshay. He will be evaluating Toastmaster Saurabh. He is a student of English literature. And when I asked him whether definition of love has changed over a period of time, and he said, yes, previously people used to be very serious about love. Now, there are a lot of heartbreaks and people take it very casually. So I request Akshay to please give evaluation for Toastmaster Saurabh.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, very much.
Okay. Tradition of dress, tradition of culture, and culture of many countries. That's the thing I heard many a times. But culture of listening. Toastmaster Saurabh, you did a fabulous job while giving your speech from your level 2 project 1. You put forth 8 types of leadership quality, and you also delivered them in your speech. And one thing I like to tell you is that you also gave some of the experience of your school life, and you also said that if you want to become a leader, it's not only in office but also in sports. That also you had mentioned in your speech. And I think when you were in school, that time you had a leadership style, and you're robbing the chalk and all. That's what friends should tell you. You created a nice example on that. Now, as evaluation, I have to give you some of the recommendations. Okay. In your speech, you started like good evening. Unless you could have started from the quote in the beginning, then you could have said good evening. And about, you had many crutch words actually. The R counter, I think he already noted down. And I thought you were like a bit unprepared for your speech today. And second thing I like to tell you is that the speech was not kind of a storytelling, because your experience, you could have explained about the Toastmasters also. It was that was not there in your speech. To sum it up, you did a fabulous job by giving this speech. You explained 8 types of leadership styles, and small recommendation is that next time if you give your speech, it could have been more interesting, it could have been storytelling form, or you could have mentioned the Toastmasters example also. Overall, I loved your speech. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Gajanan. The whole host, you can mute me now because my talkback is having some problem. That's why. Hello.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshay,
You can
for a
mute
wonderful
me.
event.
Sumas.
Yeah. Our second evaluator for today is Toastmaster Tanya. She will be evaluating Toastmaster Akansha. Toastmaster Tanya is a computer engineer by profession. She is working as a UX designer in a screen root company. I request Toastmaster, when I asked Tanya, do you believe in love at first sight? And she, what I can say is, she said that she don't believe in love actually. But
No.
she got, okay, you want to complete it?
No, I said I don't believe in love in first sight.
You don't believe in love at first sight, but get attracted to people who have very to the personalities. Okay, over to you, Toastmaster Tanya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gajanan. Very good evening to all my fellow Toastmasters and my dear speaker, Akansha. Kudos for such an excellent speech, I would say, and a very expressive one. You did a very good job in conveying your key message. And moving on to your speech, I like the fact that you started with a question. Your engagement with the audience in the initial phase was the highlight, I would say. And I could see people actually posting emojis when you actually you asked a question related to Toastmasters. I love the way you actually also structured your speech. You started by sharing your school days story, that, how you assume that you were the best leader, and then cut to your college days. You came to know that you were a very terrible leader. Then talking about your leadership style, where you spoke about 4 key things, that there's no I when you're collaborating. You need to make your team feel valued. You need to communicate effectively and also lead by example. It was very effective that you referred again to your introduction at the end. It gave a very rounded completion to your speech. Your voice modulation was perfect. You knew where to pitch it up, where to pitch it in. And you used those tones appropriately when you were delivering your speech. Your speech pace was good. You knew where to pause. You knew where to take a pause. However, I have like a recommendation. I saw that you were confined at one place, but I would recommend that, you use your whole screen space, move and be a little more expressive when you are, talking about your personal anecdotes. Like just come confined near the screen as if, you're kind of sharing a secret with the audience. So overall, I would like to say that, you had you are like very good. And with these couple of recommendations, I mean, you will be like a rock star. So yeah, over to you, Toastmaster Gajanan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tanya, for a wonderful, crisp report. Now let us move to the report of the role players. Our first role player for today is Toastmaster Shivani. She is the VP Education of Vasco Toastmaster Club, and she is doing the role of a timer. I welcome Toastmaster Shivani to present her report.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Gajanan. The meeting started on time and we are good on time. Toastmaster Saurabh spoke for 6 minutes and 11 seconds. Toastmaster Akansha spoke for 5 minutes and 41 seconds. Coming to table topics, Toastmaster Aditya spoke for 1 minute 41 seconds. Toastmaster Abrar spoke for 1 minute 20 seconds. Toastmaster Gajanan spoke for 1 minute. Toastmaster Akshay spoke for 1 minute 30 seconds. Toastmaster Tanya spoke for 37 seconds. Toastmaster Akansha spoke for 1 minute 25 seconds. Toastmaster Meenal spoke for 1 minute 54 seconds. And evaluator, Toastmaster Akshay evaluated for 2 minutes 13 seconds. And Toastmaster Tanya evaluated for 2 minutes 30 seconds. So that's the report from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Gajanan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shivani. Now let us move to the next role player. Our next role player is the president of Vasco Toastmaster Club, and he is the counter for today. Let me welcome Toastmaster Abrar to present his report.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Today's our counter role was quite easy, I would say. And presenting to you the number of hours, although we have this thing of our king and our queen, I am not going to highlight that today. Saurav said for 8 times, 5 times. Akansha, you had 1 hour. Tanvi said twice. Meenal said twice. Akshay said 9 times. 7 times. Tanya, I think Tanya said it for 7 times. Shivani said for 3 times. And our general evaluator said it once. I was waiting for it. That's all from me. Back to you, general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abrar, for the wonderful report. Now we'll move to the next role player for today. She is I think she is VPPR for Vasco Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Meenal, and she will be presenting her grammarian's report. Hi, Meenal.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Gajanan, but I am not the VPPR. The VPPR is Saurabh. I'm the secretary. I was VPPR last year. Because the credit for the post definitely goes to Toastmaster Saurabh. So yes, coming back to my role as a grammarian, today was indeed a very romantic moment because very few made the effort of using the word of the day. But there's also something that I noticed amongst the diverse set of speakers that we have today is that each one subconsciously ended up using different types of grammatical aspects in their speech. For example, Toastmaster Saurabh used an analogy, which is 8 kinds of leadership is like 8 kinds of hats. It's when you compare 2 aspects together and bring them in the same line. That's called an analogy. For example, if you could have used something like, what if you could be a good leader by listening to people's heart? Wouldn't that be a new age romance? Now, that could be a little tricky and a little creative as well, but that's an aspect where you could have used the word of the day. Speaker Toastmaster Akansha used collaboration and delegation, and these were sprinkled as rhymes throughout your speech. Now, this is a very innovative form of using grammar because when you rhyme certain words, it's like a tune that you sing in your head, like we often do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's L-O-M-N-O-P. It's that kind of quick little thing that helps a lot of speakers engage with their audiences. So those were very beautifully sprinkled across your entire speech. However, you had a great opportunity saying being an accountant, I would love to indulge in the romance of numbers, which is something would have come a little more naturally, but you missed out on that. Toastmaster Tanvi, as a table topics master, you used romantic multiple times, but romance not even once. I was waiting for the word to fit in somewhere. Toastmaster Aditya very, very confidently used romance, but I have a feeling that he was a little skeptical as to how he pulled it off in his speech, but he did. Toastmaster Gajanan used this word reminiscence, which is something I haven't heard in a very long time, but fit perfectly into the moment. And the comparison with the various exams in love was absolutely bizarre, but yet nostalgic. Toastmaster Akshay, you seem to have the ultimate opportunity of using the romance of words in your speech, but somehow that was missed out. Tanya, however, very smartly used romance in commas, like romance, travel, multiple other things. That was I think it was a subconscious, but great use of the word romance. And Toastmaster Aarti used romance once. However, as a Toastmaster of the day, she has used various forms of idioms throughout her speech. And if you're familiar and if at any moment you would have felt a deja vu, that's because you've heard it somewhere, and that's what an idiom is all about. So that's my grammarian's report today, although I've not felt very happy or being by default someone who has to romance words for a living. It was something that I missed greatly, but I'm very happy with all the other knowledge that I'm taking away. So thank you for that. And over to you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Gajan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Meenal, for that wonderful report. Now, I'll start with the general evaluation for today's meeting. Let me start with the pre-meeting preparation. The poster was circulated well in advance. Agenda was communicated well in advance. Though there were some dropouts, still the VP Education, Toastmaster Shivani, made a point that morning she got up and she changed the evaluator from Usha to Akshay. So kudos to Toastmaster Shivani. Meeting exactly opened at 7 o'clock. The actual timing is 7:30. So it's always a good practice to start meeting, to open the meeting room early. Well done, President Toastmaster Abrar. This ensures that meetings start exactly at 7:30. Now, Toastmaster, the essay for today beautifully explained the mission of the Toastmaster and reminding us why we are here and what is the sole purpose. It's for our own growth. Now, the president, despite having a lot of all the Toastmasters out here, he still made a point to explain, to tell us about Toastmasters, so that the people who are not able to attend this meeting surely would browse to YouTube and might get access about Toastmaster. And you don't know when a guest or viewer can get converted into a member. Now, the TMOD for today, Toastmaster Aarti. It's a very fabulous theme. It's a very filmy theme. One of my favorite movies, Love Aajkal, and one of my favorite actors, Deepika Padukone. So your height matches with Deepika Padukone. It brought me the reminiscence of old movies, especially of Rajesh Khanna, Jitendra, all sorts of romantic dancing, very colorful movie. And you spoke about the various stages of love, right from the infatuation to the other term you use. I forgot that. You aligned your theme perfectly with the meeting roles. It requires great amount of skill, because you took up the role just one day before and you made a point. That means that shows your flexibility, your control over the your confidence level you have as a Toastmaster, and you proved just that after joining Toastmaster. Within 1 year, you showed your mettle. And finally, you gave the takeaway that we should love ourselves first rather than finding love outside, because when we love ourselves, people get attracted to you.
Thank you.
Now coming to the minor roles of minor role players. Sorry, my apologies. All the role players explained their roles beautifully, but I would suggest one point, that try to align your roles with the theme. Okay, it always helps. It allows to connect with the audience in a much better way. Now, Toastmaster Meenal beautifully gave a very simple word of the day: romantic, And every time I see this word romantic, I feel like you using it, but still, I think it's, I don't know what happened, but people did use it, but they should have used it because it's a very nice word. And Meenal gave her very beautiful report. She looks like a queen of words. She can play with words, like she can paint paint things with words. Now coming to the role player, second role player, Toastmaster Shivani. Okay, gave her report beautifully, but I would suggest two small recommendation. Okay, when you explained, when you started screen sharing, that is the time you forgot to introduce yourself as a timer. You suddenly started that for prepared speeches, time is this, table topic time is this, and evaluation time is this. Before that, because in between you just started screen sharing, that time you got little bit distracted. And second thing, a small change, but I felt you use a visual aid to show the time, the heart. But I felt that the kind of heart you are having a big heart, but it didn't justify the size you chose on the PowerPoint. I think you had a lot of options, Toastmaster Shivani. Now coming to the table topic. Toastmaster Tanvi beautifully aligned the topics with the table topics with the theme, and the topic was so simple that it really bewildered all of us to tell them to answer the table topic. But topic was so simple yet very difficult. And I can say that people enjoyed the table topic, but because I could see smile everywhere, and that shows it's one kind of feedback. When people are smiling, I feel like love is in air. Now coming to the evaluation, both the speakers, evaluator used the sandwich method of evaluation. They commented, then they have given recommendation, and then again commented. On this, I would like to give one small suggestion to Akshay. While giving recommendation, try to be little bit more empathetical towards the speaker. Maybe a choice of word could motivate speaker. For example, you said that you didn't practice. You were not prepared. You should have told that you should practice a little bit more. This kind of choice of word really helps for the speakers to come again on stage and try things more effectively. Overall meeting was great. I love the theme. I love the energy, and this club, I think, is one of the best club in Goa, and keep doing the same work what you are doing right now. And over to you, Toastmaster Abrar, for the future proceeding.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Gajanan, our general evaluator, ladies and gentlemen in the room. A big round of applause to Toastmaster Gajanan. Before we move ahead, I would like to launch the polls for the best evaluator, the minor role player, and the major role player. We'll start with the best evaluator. Okay, we are going to move to the best minor role player. Three, two, 1. Go. We have our best major role player. Here we go. And with that, we'll move ahead and let's hear out from all the guest Toastmasters who had joined us today. Can we start with Toastmaster Aditya? Aditya, may I know from which club you are and how you came to know about this meeting? A line or two about you.
Yeah. So I'm from Mount Toastmasters Club, and last term I served as the president of Mount Toastmasters Club in Pune.
Okay.
And there I connected with Aarti. What was the event, Aarti? I think you had come to Kharadi Toastmasters, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
There she was visiting as an evaluator, and then I participated in the evaluation contest. So there we got connected. And when I came to know that she is the Toastmaster of the day today, I thought I'll get to listen from her the wise words which she always has. That's why I came. Yeah, that's about me. Currently, I'm serving as the VPPR of the club, Hounds Club.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Aditya.
Yeah.
It was lovely hearing from you and seeing you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Aarti, for inviting him. Do we have any other guest Toastmasters who had joined in? We heard from Toastmaster Gajanan. We heard from Toastmaster Aditya. Toastmaster Tanya, maybe in a line or two, how was your experience?
I mean, I completely enjoyed it. This was I think my second time with Vasco. The last time I remember it was back, I think last year, somewhere in April, when I was doing the counter role. Oh, sorry, the grammarian role. It was a joint meeting between ICG and Vasco Toastmasters, but I thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you very much for joining in, Toastmasters Tanya. Can we hear from the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Aarti?
Very good evening. Like I always say, it's such a pleasure to be a part of the Vasco Club. I may not be a member, but I seem to be quite a regular. So I feel absolutely at home with the club. And like always, today was a wonderful meeting, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with all of you this evening.
Thank you very much for joining in. And yes, you are a part of our club. Can we, Toastmaster Tanvi, could you share the screen? Let's move on to the next section and let's hear the awards. Let's see who did well. Okay. So we will be presenting a certificate of appreciation to Toastmaster Meenal for stepping up 3 minutes prior to the meeting and taking the role of Sergeant at Arms. Now you may unmute yourself and give her a big round of applause. Moving ahead. For the best, Tanvi, what is it? Best speaker. For best speaker, do we have any guesses?
Toastmaster Akanksha Parihar.
Awesome. Anyone else? Tanvi? Yes, it's Toastmaster Akanksha Parihar. Akanksha, this was one, as I had mentioned, it was one of the good speeches and you are getting better and we are proud of you. Next, for the best table topic speaker, any guesses?
It's you, Toastmaster Abrar.
Wow, I would love to see my name. However, the entire audience doesn't agree with you. There is a tie between Toastmaster Akanksha Parihar and Toastmaster Aditya. Many congratulations. For the best minor role player, We had Abrar.
Toastmaster Meenal,
No, Meenal, we are
grammarian.
coming back to you later. Best evaluator. I'm sorry. For the best evaluator, any guesses?
Tanya. Tanya.
You are right, Akshay. It's
Yes.
Toastmaster Tanya. Congratulations. For the best minor role player,
Toastmaster Meenal, grammarian.
excellent. Akshay, I thought I had shared the results with Tanvi. However, you seem to have all the answers. For the best major role player, any guesses?
TMOD.
Exactly. Akshay, I think there is some glitch. I'm sorry for this overacting. I do not. I am just trying to play cool and act that the word of the day, which was used by Toastmaster Meenal. Yes, you are the best major role player. No, it is Toastmaster Aarti. I am sorry. I think भावनाओं में मैं बह गया.
Yay.
Anyways, that's all from us. Thank you very much. Thank you to our guest Toastmasters who had joined us. I have two important announcements. One is, as you all know, every club and our club as well is looking out for members. So in case if you have any friends or your colleagues or your family members who could be a part of Vasco, you're most welcome. Toastmaster Ashley Fernandez is our VP membership. Secondly, we are close to our international speech contest, which is on Tanvi. What is the date? I'm just checking if the president is keeping a tab
What
on.
area contest? 6th March.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. So 6th March is the area contest. The contest dates for our club haven't been decided as yet. However, they will be announced in another 3 to 4 days. The next meeting of Vasco Toastmasters Club will be held on 19th. No, yes. It will be held on 18th of February, and the tentative date for contest, what we are considering, is 20th of February. So all the contestants who are interested or all the members who are there, start preparing. As the presiding officer for today's meeting, I officially adjourn this meeting.